if my computer will act right. All right.
This is Sparta!
Hey, boys! Look what I got here! Hey, where are the white women at?
This is Sparta!
Hey, boys!
Anyway,
look what I got here!
We're live, apparently.
Hey, where are the white women
while
at?
everything else is going on, we're apparently live.
Playing in the background.
It is what it is.
Oh, at the top. Do you have it in loop? That's probably what happened.
I'll have to check. Yeah, I'll have to check because that might have been it, but I thought I shut it down. So let's see. Let's see who we got real fast. Warsaw checked in at 7. Warsaw hopefully will be in here in a little bit. Mr. Kingpin, my brother's in here. LaCroix Trek the dude, your name always fucks me up. That's why I always call you Crow. What's up, Crow? Let's see who else we got. What in the hell did I just do? I did something. I don't know what I did. I hit some sort of button that I shouldn't have hit. Banners, private chat, comments. Let's get back up here. Come on, wake up. All right, so let's get back to this while I'm hitting all the wrong damn buttons. Of course, we got G23 here. We're going to go through this stuff. Fire Otter, what is up, my brother? Chamber Defense, what is happening, brother man? Said hi to Kingpin, brother Kingpin already. Taco Syndicate, my brother, what is happening? Jeff Cron, my brother, what is going on? What's up with you? See what we got happening tonight. We all left. JC9, what's up, brother man? What's happening? All right, so I think I got everybody who's in the chat right now, and hopefully more people will join in a little bit. So me and G23 and Warsaw should be in here. We're going to go through the 7th Circuit oral arguments over the Illinois. It's a unified case, a couple of different cases about the assault weapons ban, magazine ban, all that shit. As usual, for any Share the Pain stream, unload everything within reach, put it out of reach. Make sure you can't shoot your computer, your TV, or your phone, because this shit is going to get annoying as fuck. And I've got G23, I've got your channel down in the description, but brother, let everybody know where you're at.
Oh, thanks. G23 reviews on YouTube. G23 review, drop the S on Instagram. Not really active over there much, but I do have one, and hopefully I will start being a little more active over there. So, and here pretty quick, as Coop already knows, we got a new thing coming to the channel.
Yes. So yeah, G23 guys does a ton of stuff. Just found out tonight. Tell them the good news tonight. You just found out. Tell them the good news.
I want a free rifle. So that will be coming to the channel, and I'll be doing a shout out video, and everything about where I want it and how I want it, everything like that. So probably have to get with Taco again to go shooting.
Hell yeah. Yeah, me and G23 were sitting backstage, and all of a sudden he got a phone call and picked it up. Was like, yeah, da da da. Really? Yeah. I was like, dude, I'd have been way more excited if I win a rifle.
You show me what I
Huh?
got. You show me what I got.
I can't. We're live. I've got to shoot a video on it. I can't show it while we're live, or I will get banned again. Because last time I kind of got banned not too long back for a while for showing guns on stream.
You know,
Yeah.
You know, Coop, there is a way around it. If you turn your camera off for a second, you set it somewhere where the camera can see, and then you turn the camera back on with your hands up, like if you're being held up by the cops. Keep your hands up in the air so that YouTube can see you're not touching it.
Well, see, I've done it before. I used my phone and showed off a gun that was sitting in one of the pictures that I've got where I was working on. I showed it that way. But yeah, the last time, even though these fucking dickheads, okay, I'm working on these guns. I'm building these guns. I know these guns. I have guns. I have a gunsmithing credential, like my wife, although she got hers before me. But I have a gunsmithing credential. Kiss my ass. Bite you on that. But anyway, but yeah, showed off a freaking it was one of the blue ballers, I think. Yeah, that shit got me banned for about 24 hours. I didn't get a strike, but I got banned. So that is what it is. But she got a baby, what's the gun? I'm gonna yell at her. She'll come back in later. Anyway, it's a early 1900s straight pull, 8mm by like 54, 56, bolt action, but it's a straight pull. And the cool thing about this one, when I looked at it, is it does have a rotating bolt, so the head of the bolt actually rotates and locks in, but it's a straight pull rifle. And it's freaking kick ass, man. Right now, I only know of one company that I think Savage is doing a straight pull rifle. That'll be in like 30-aught, 6.5, a bunch of different calibers. But I don't know of anybody else making a straight pull. For those of you who don't know what a straight pull is, so if you're operating a bolt action, you pull the bolt or push the bolt forward, and you rotate it into place so it locks up. Well, a straight pull, you just push it forward, and through a couple of different mechanisms, it locks into battery. And then instead of having to rotate it back and then pull it, you just pull it straight. Think about an AR with like the Cali key in it. That's basically a straight pull rifle. Because at that point you really don't have anything in the gas system, and that's what that is. So
Fire Rodder says, tell us about it. So Coop and I were sitting backstage. We were BSing and everything. And I get a phone call. I answer the phone, and it's a shop that I've purchased firearms from before. And they're like, they're like, hey, you just won a 22 LR precision rifle, blah, blah, blah. And so they didn't tell me what manufacturer it is or anything like that. Or I'd tell you guys who the manufacturer is. But I talked with them, and they agreed they're going to let me film in the shop and do an interview. So we're going to have that on top of the showing of the newly acquired 22 LR precision rifle. So that video will be coming out.
Okay. Here, my son come in with my phone, so I kidnapped it from him real fast and messaged Warsaw. Was like, "Hey, where you at?" All he did was he texted back "shit" with an exclamation point. So I'll be willing to bet he'll be here in a minute, because he's up there in that area, and we're going to go through the oral arguments that happened a few days ago over these assault weapons and magazine bans. Get out behind there, go get. Don't start me. What do you want? Oh, you want the Gatorade? Yes, Gatorade. Here, you have the Gatorade. So we're gonna play these oral arguments, and
Joe, what's going on, Joe?
Joe Morris, what's happening, brother man? And of course, my wife checks in the chat. So what's up, baby girl? Swiss K31 straight pull action. JC9, it's not a Swiss. Hers is an Austrian built, Austrian Hungarian built gun. She can post it in the chat because she knows exactly. And it was funny because she's been looking for kind of something like that. Just not necessarily actively looking, but it's one of those things if she came across it, she'd get it. And at about the same time, she gave me the information on that Yugo AK, and that's a gun that I was going to build when I got the time, but for $800 is what I ended up paying for it. I was like, shit, I can't pass that gun up. Hard to find information for as far as serial numbers and dates, but I think that's like a 2010 gun, somewhere around there. Hungarian M95. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, anybody who was wondering what she got, that's it. And we're going to shoot a video on that later. And I'm trying to edit video now of a one of the guys who works at the gun shop with her has a custom built 460 Roland in a basically like a 1911 configuration. And we shot that last night. And that thing is it is so smooth, it's scary. The trigger is a consistent 4-pound pull, but even the pull on that 4-pound makes it seem like it's ounces because it's so smooth. It's just ungodly. That gun is amazing. So that'll be a video I'll post here shortly. But anyway, let me add this to the stream.
Jessica Scheller will be presenting argument on behalf
of 33-pound recoil.
Prepared to answer any questions.
That thing it's hell on wheels to rack the slide by hand. It is a serious recoil spring. But dude built that gun custom from the ground up because he was explaining to me one day, he was like, you can build a 460 off of a 1911 frame, but what's going to end up happening is that 460 round is so much pressure, it's going to tear that frame up. So he built it custom from the ground up for a 460 specifically. So it's like my 1993 government model 1911 that I love. That gun towers over my regular 1911, even though they're technically supposed to be about the same barrel length and shit. That gun is amazing. DLD, what is up, my brother? DLD, we're gonna run till you go live, and then we're gonna switch this off and then hit your stream. So this is kind of the filler, because I will be in the live tonight. God damn it, I missed the last 2 lives because I was either sleeping or had shit to do. I'm catching Dark live tonight. Come hell or high water.
Yeah, well, when Dark was doing his interview with Clint, he didn't want to talk about decks. He was too good. He was too good to bring up his decks.
Oh yeah, man. The funny thing about watching the replays is I watch the chat replay while I'm going, And dude, it pisses me off because I'm like, dude, I so wish I could have typed right then, because I miss being in the chats with everybody. Warsaw, now you're checking in.
Yeah, he says he's going to take a quick shower. He wants to be cleaned before he comes on your show.
Yeah, dude. I mean, as soon as you get done, man, just check in anytime. Because Warsaw has the links and everything to people who are funding the fight against all this shit in Illinois. So we'll get into the whole gist of what's going on. So Illinois, there's a couple of lawsuits, and I don't have them pulled up right now. One is Beavis versus whatever, and yes, it's Beavis, like Beavis and Butthead. And another one, they combine those suits together because Illinois went into this assault weapons ban. Your gun, semi-automatic, can't have fixed mag and one other feature, can't have more than 10 rounds in a mag, all this stupid shit. And that's going through the courts right now. So this is an argument in the Seventh Circuit, which the Seventh Circuit is not real friendly to our Second Amendment rights. You got a lot of judges on there who believe in more public policy, greater good reasonings for things versus just our Constitution and those are our rights. So that's what we're going to listen to. Yeah, Warsaw. So hell, let's kick this off. And of course, with this oral argument, it's going to kick off with the couple of people because this is a combined case. So you're going to have a couple of people arguing for the state and a couple of people arguing for our rights, and that's what we're going to listen to. And G23 knows this because all the shit going on up in his neck of the woods these days. We're just waiting on things to happen so we can cover those because it's fucking insane up there by G2 right now. And for a little bit of fun here, and I've got them printed out here. This is a stack of anti-gun bills that have been proposed in Alabama this year. Now, the majority of those got posted late, so they were never really considered, but they're kind of in the pipeline now, so they'll come back around. And one of those is an assault weapons ban. And believe it or not, these douchebags want you limited to 7 rounds in a magazine or a gun. Not even 10. They drop it down to 7 in their shit. So yeah, there's that. So let me see where this will play and whether this will play smooth. Because I'm running a bit different setup.
That will ban they'll ban most of those 1911 9mm, so.
Oh yeah, your 2011s and shit like that. Yeah.
Well, even the 1911s, just the standard 1911s are what? The 9mm are like 8-rounders, 9-rounders.
Well, 7 in the mag, 1 in the pipe is standard. If I'm not dreaming, like my 1993, I think it's 7 in the mag, 1 in the pipe. So yeah, it would ban those because you would have an ultimate 8 rounds in the gun instead of just having 7 rounds in the gun. It's absolutely insane, and all of us know it. Hell, they know it. But again, we all got to get it through our heads that these people are not. They're not about safety and saving lives. They're about control. Period. That's all their game is about. And once you can see things through that lens, then you don't have to worry about the rationales behind stuff because the rationale always comes back to control. Every day, all day, that's what it's about. So let's start this and let's see. I think I've got it about where everything kicks off.
And otherwise plans to present argument on issues raised in their briefing, such as historical analogs like gunpowder restrictions and other issues related to the scope of the Second Amendment. With respect to my presentation, unless the court has a contrary preference, I will begin with the plain text of the Second Amendment and then turn to the historical tradition, each of which provides an independent basis for this court to
Just
affirm
bought a top
the
90
Bevis
level.
and Herrera Court's denial of preliminary injunctive relief and reverse the Barnett Court's grant of a preliminary injunction.
Okay. Those are the two cases, Bevis and Herrera. Bevis, I can't remember exactly who he is. Herrera is actually like an emergency room doctor who works with the SWAT team. They've got a couple different cases.
We know from Bruin that courts must begin by assessing whether the regulated instrument is protected by the plain text of the Second Amendment. We also know from both Bruin and Heller that not all instruments fall within that category. The instruments must be arms, they must be bearable, and they must be in common use for self-defense. The instruments at issue here do not satisfy that standard for at least two reasons. First, large capacity magazines are not arms. They are accessories that are not necessary to the operation of any firearm.
And I take it when you say that, you understand some sort of ammunition feeding device needs to be there, but it could be a 10-round device, not a 30-round or something bigger.
Yes, of course, Your Honor. At issue here are only the large capacity magazines that are restricted by the Act. The Act does not restrict anybody's ability to use a magazine to operate their firearm. Because the record here plainly shows, and it's unrebutted by the plaintiffs, that there is no need for a magazine in excess of 10 rounds for rifles or 15 rounds for handguns.
Hi, there's Warsaw. What's up, brother?
What up?
Shit, same ass, brother, same ass.
That they do not constitute an arm under the Second Amendment. Even
Actually, under McDonald, magazines were.
Magazines and assault weapons fall outside of the plain text because they are not in common use for self-defense.
There's much discussion, Ms. Hunger, about a burden. I think the state, the county, the Naperville all place a burden on the petitioners for purposes of establishing this first step. Where is that found? What's the authority for that?
In Bruin, there are several if-then statements that says if the weapon is within the plain text of the Second Amendment, then the government bears the burden of demonstrating.
Okay, while I'm thinking about it,
is-
Warsaw, you have the links and everything that you were sending me. Can you go ahead and start posting those in the chat?
Repeat that. Sorry, I
Consistent
was
with
trying to figure something.
The links you were sending me on the groups fighting this and funding and all that.
Oh yeah,
Can you go ahead and start throwing those in the chat?
yeah, sure thing. It's three of them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, FFL Illinois. That's one of them.
Yep.
So,
and what you guys have to realize is you listen to the arguments that these lawyers for the state are using. This is the terminology that is going to be used nationwide because they're all funded by the same damn people. Dang old Matt, what's up, brother?
Historical tradition. If the government bore the burden at both steps of the analysis, then the Supreme Court would not have used that language.
Well, Bruin is clear that the government's got a role here on the second step. It says so. Bruin never says the burden shifts from petitioners to respondents. We're left wanting for the source of authority as to why a burden on the first step would be on the petitioners, aren't we?
Well, I suppose the burden does have to be on somebody, and we know that the government does bear the burden at the second step. And as I said, there is that kind of if-then language. But regardless here, whoever's burden it is, our position is, even if it were the government's burden, that these are not in common use for self-defense. That's because assault weapons make up only 5% of the arms in circulation, and they're owned by only 2% of Americans and 8% of gun owners.
Before we get too far down that path, which we certainly should come back to, because there's a great debate going on about what we're talking about.
So just before she gets into that, and I said it on a stream God, it has been 6 months ago, in a congressional hearing. What they are going to argue is that AR-15s, high capacity magazines, all that shit aren't in common use. Even though there are so many of them out there, even more than katana with the stun guns and all that, they're going to argue that these are not common use arms because only a fraction of gun owners own them. That's one of the attacks they are going to use. Yeah, LaCroix, you are a 2%er. Angry Sarge, what's up, brother man? If you're on the road tonight, man, be careful, be safe. Don't take anybody's constitutional rights away. Nah, man, I love you, brother.
When we talk about common use, are we talking about numbers? Are we talking about purpose? Are we talking about percentages? And to what extent, do we anchor this in a particular point in time? But I want to back up and ask you what the state's definition of a bearable arm is. Does that mean something you can carry, or does that mean something that were ordinarily in 1791 in someone's household? Or what's a bearable arm?
Our view is that it likely would mean something that someone could carry, and that is why it is our view that it is not an appropriate standard for the plain text.
Angry Sarge, you're cool as fuck, brother. We love you to death.
More sense to look at whether or not.
And any of you guys who aren't following Angry Sarge,
or else,
follow Angry Sarge.
You could literally have shoulder-fired rocket launchers would count as bearable arms, and then you have to go into the second step of the analysis and do this huge historical inquiry when everyone knows those are military-grade weapons that are not protected by the Second Amendment. And so,
well, I take it your opponents concede that an M16
sorry,
not the kinds of
military weapons are protected by the Second Amendment because it was those alleged military weapons that founded this country.
Assault weapons are virtually identical weapons to M16.
And you guys remember, so we can make sure that mutes. So you guys remember the Miller case, the original challenge to the 1934 NFA was about a short-barreled shotgun. And what the justices at that time said is that a short-barreled shotgun would not be a useful military arm, therefore it wasn't covered. In other words, if these guys had gotten caught with a fucking belt-fed NG-34, then it would have been a useful arm in military service. Now they're arguing that if it is an arm in military service, then it's not protected by the Second Amendment. So they've switched, and it becomes more and more insane the more you listen to it.
Yeah. Hey, Coop.
Yeah, bro.
I was going to ask, is it possible to get Dark on here as well? I'd like to have him on this discussion.
Yeah, man. If Dark's available, yeah.
He might be prepping for his live here in a little bit.
Yep. No.
Yeah. Well, that's the only reason I didn't. That's the only reason I didn't send him anything, because I figured he'd be getting ready for his. But
anyways, I also want to also say something, guys. This is an important case here. It's not. We're not going to wait anymore for Judge Benitez. We got to actually do something about this. So I get it. We're a blue state, all right? I'm in Indiana right now, but I actually have to work in Illinois State. But this case is major. Every assault weapons ban that's popping up left and right. I've been seeing more anti-gun legislation pop up in Kentucky to Tennessee to Georgia. Massachusetts now putting a double minder on their assault weapons ban. It's like mending it to more of it. If we don't win and succeed in Illinois, we won't succeed in the rest of our union. Moving state's no longer going to be solving your world's problems anymore, guys. So, literally, I've given you the links to the donation pages. So, if you really want to help our cause, by all means, help out and donate.
Fucking see my damn keys. But yeah, I just emailed Dark. So, if Dark wants to come on, yeah, he is more than fucking welcome.
Yeah. But anybody on the side chat have to agree on me on this. I mean, more anti-gun legislation is popping up every state you can think of and imaginable.
What is? And see, if you read the legislation popping up in all these states, because Mike McClune, like Pennsylvania, is one there's a lot of shit popping up in. Um, God damn, what was it? Michigan, uh, fucking Minnesota. I've covered
Tennessee.
so many different states. Yeah, Tennessee's another one coming up now. I've covered so many different states, it's hard to keep up with. And see what people are losing track of, and I'm guilty of it too. We pay attention to a lot of national stuff, but we don't see everything coming through in the states themselves. And the legislation coming through in the states is extremely dangerous. Because one, you're going to have people put in prison over these laws that they put through while they're going through the fights in the district and circuit courts. They're still going to be in prison in the majority of cases, and they're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to try to fight these cases. And again, they're still in prison while this shit's going on. And these laws, when you look at the constitution of the states themselves, these laws are absolutely unconstitutional, period. It's amazing to me. But then again, like I showed on a stream one night with Legal Man, you have I think he was from the House in Alabama. He admits it on the House floor. He says, look, we pass unconstitutional laws all the time. It's for the judiciary to figure this out. That should be fucking terrifying to anybody with half a brain. BV Luminous, what's up, brother? P38 checking in. What's happening, man? I still got to get back up with P38 and have a beer. That was one of the coolest things that I did last year. Was meeting up with P38 and just fucking sitting down and having a beer. Walter Davis, what's up, brother? So let's play some more of this. And I sent that email, Dark. Hopefully you're listening. If you want to jump in, brother. The link's there. I know you might be getting ready for your show, and we're going to run till you get started. When you get started, I'm going to shut this shit down no matter what, because I'm going to be in Dark's fucking live chat tonight.
But for one thing, which is that M16s can use automatic fire instead of semi-automatic fire. And I'm sure that is a distinction, but it is not one that's constitutionally determinative. If you look at what Heller said about M16s, the reason why the state may ban them is because they're weapons of war. It's not because they use automatic fire. And so, yes, plaintiffs have identified that distinction, but they have not explained why it's important. And we think here, given that we know that the state and the federal government can ban automatic weapons like M16s, and because assault weapons are essentially M16s.
Wilbur, this is what I have left.
It could be a relatively simple case on that line alone. But of course,
been guarding
our
this
view is
shit
also
like with
that
my
we have
life.
shown, even though we do not believe it's our burden, that these are not in common use for self-defense, and also that they are consistent with the historical tradition of regulating dangerous and unusual weapons. So again, back to Judge Brennan's question, regardless of who carries the burden here, we believe that the state should prevail. And I would also note that this is at a preliminary injunction stage, where the plaintiffs carry the burden to show that they are likely to succeed on the merits. And here, the plaintiffs have presented virtually no evidence in support of their case. And the state, and the city, and the county, and the city of Naperville have come in with
Here it
dozens
is.
of
Here we go.
declarations from historians.
Pause. Here we go. Now,
I'd like to add to this. She's saying that there's no fucking evidence. That's a crock of shit right there, what she just claimed.
It is
the plaintiffs. The plaintiffs of the Illinois state, and I'm not talking the state government. I'm talking we the people of Illinois. We are on a statewide lawsuit by Thomas DeVore, and it actually covers equal protection. And equal protection is where, all right, so you can't have civilians owning these weapons. Well, you can't have this argument said by a Navy SEAL. A Navy SEAL can't own an AR-15 after he did a service for owning and operating an M16 or M4 carbine. So yeah, that struck you
Well,
full protections ground.
This is the part that drives me insane. Because the minute we let the court start arguing over whether this was a military arm or whether this was a civilian arm or whether this was a weapon of war, we lost the Second Amendment right there. Because then we gave them the room to basically redefine terms to whatever they want. And that's what they're doing now.
Mind you,
I mean,
a musket was a weapon of war.
yeah, it was the pinnacle of weapons technology at the time. And I've showed it on streams before where I can prove 100% that, and they talk about it in their freaking opening arguments about these laws about powder storage and shit. Well, it was about people owning cannons and mortars and swivel cannons and all grenades and bombs and all this shit. That's what people owned at the time. They owned every implement of war that the government owned. Every single one.
From doctors, from medical experts, to meet each step of the burden, regardless of where it falls.
Can I ask you another question? Everybody here has been assuming, it seems to me, that in the wake of Bruin, we have this two-part test. First of all, looking at the plain text of the Second Amendment, and
yeah, debt guns, that was another one.
The weapon in question seems to fall within that plain text, then there's a presumption of constitutionality,
right back.
which then is the state's, I'll just call it the state's burden to rebut. So a two-step test. And I keep bumping into the fact that in Bruin itself, the Supreme Court said, the courts of appeals have been following a two-step test, but we think that's one step too many. And so you know the line.
I do know the line, yes.
And so why are we back in a two-step test anyway?
Well, I have had a similar thought, but I think what the Supreme Court was saying there was that means end scrutiny is the step that's too far. But then, of course, ironically, it did go back and say we're looking at the plain text, and then if that's satisfied, we look to history and tradition. And so maybe it's step 1A, B. I'm not quite sure, but it does seem like there are two parts to the test, even if technically we're out of the two-step test zone.
But just to be clear, you just said a minute ago that it's the state's maybe preferred position, or at least I'm inferring that you mean preferred position, that you can look at the text of the Second Amendment, somehow discern from that word arms, keep and bear arms, the notion that it's talking about non-military weapons, the kind of thing somebody would use for self-defense, perhaps lawful sporting purposes. There are a set of lawful purposes. And that's enough, that we somehow can intuit from those words in the Second Amendment this classification.
Well, I do think if you look at, I believe it's the threshold paragraph in Bruin where Bruin discusses the plain text analysis, the court does discuss arms that are in common use for self-defense. The court could have said bearable arms or something else, but it did not. And so we know that there's something more there than just, is this literally a weapon in some capacity?
The reason why they did not just say bearable arms,
and
they said bearable arms and common use, is because at the time that they were doing the Bruin decision, they did not want to overturn the NFA because the NFA was not in front of them.
Yes. Yeah, the NFA wasn't part of that case. And you're going to hear that come up a couple times in these arguments where judges are pushing for that. And I wish these lawyers arguing for our rights would have been like, look, Judge, this is what is in front of us now, which are semi-automatic guns. We can deal with the NFA when the NFA comes up, but right now we are dealing with semi-automatic guns. So yeah, you're gonna hear those arguments come up. Bruin destroyed National Firearms Act, Hughes Amendment. Yeah, you're right, JC, 100%. And that's one of those things that's going to have to come up in another set of oral arguments after all of these others go through. Because the 1934 NFA was absolutely unconstitutional, period. If you believe in our Constitution and constitutional rights, I don't give a shit how you feel about guns. The 34 NFA was unconstitutional, and they knew it when they fucking passed it.
Yep.
That it makes the most sense to take that language that was used by the court and apply it. And we also think as a practical matter, it makes sense because if you're looking at common use, you're looking at suitability, you're looking at intended purpose, which can also go to whether or not something is military grade or is it used for criminal purposes. And you know, our view is that those concepts are also inherent in this kind of in common use for self-defense line that Bruin used in that threshold paragraph.
I struggle with that argument, though, because in that paragraph, it connects the two petitioners, the people. Mm-hmm. It never, though, connects arms to in common use for self-defense. That's elided.
Well, it does say that handguns, which were the arm at issue in that case, are in common use for self-defense. So I think that's the connection. But you're right, you know, it doesn't say the definition of arm is in common use for self-defense. I think there's a lot in Bruin that we have to, you know, kind of look to and interpret. And so from our perspective, that is the language that's used in Bruin, and it does actually make sense as well as a practical matter when courts are looking into, you know, what does this plain text inquiry mean?
We've got to look at this amendment in light of all the amendments, and I can't think of another constitutional amendment that would be approached in this manner that would read it so narrowly from the front end. We certainly don't read the First Amendment that way. We don't read the Fourth Amendment that way.
All right,
well, I don't necessarily think that that's a narrow category.
Yeah, bro.
All right, the person that's arguing against the person representing the state is Judge Easterbrook, one of the most anti-gun judges you can think of right now, with Judge Wood, and also Trump-appointed Brennan. So this is mostly Easterbrook that's also arguing mostly with these people.
You've got a 3-judge panel right here. 2 judges are basically absolutely anti-gun, and the third one is really kind of wishy-washy as far as I'm concerned on gun. He's decent, but not, you know, absolute. So you have to take this case in this light that you realize that within these oral arguments, unless these judges go back, and this happened, about a week ago, unless these judges go back to write their opinion and they restrain their personal feelings and write the opinion based on law, then we're going to lose in this case. And it's going to go to the next, you know, hurdle.
But if it fails, it's going straight to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. But the reason we go through these things, guys, is to show you what the left is arguing, what their positions are, and to arm you and to show you what the terminology they're using is, so that you know. And then you can, when you hear this shit, you can go be like, okay, yeah, I got you. No, that's absolutely wrong. And then explain why it's wrong if someone confronts you with these bullshit arguments.
You know, in common use for self-defense, for example, the court has already said, means handguns. You know, it can also mean any number of other weapons. For example, the semi-automatic weapons that.
Are you guys website C&T Firearms? No, dude, you can typically find me by C&T Designs and Arms, or just C&T Designs. I haven't got my FFL yet, so I'm not doing a lot of outside work right now. But yeah, if you just look up C&T Designs or C&T Designs and Arms, that should get you to me. Or just C&T Designs, no spaces, will get you to me on Rumble.
Are not restricted by the act and that are in common use for self-defense in some ways. You know, there are a lot of weapons out there, and we're talking about a very
let me stop this real fast. Walter, yeah, that argument can be made to logical people, but it can't be made to illogical people. You have to understand this whole argument about gun control that comes from the left has nothing to do with saving lives. It has nothing to do with preventing deaths. It's everything about control, period. It's all it's
It's
about.
all, it's a nothing but a lie. That's all it is.
Well, I mean, you look at it, brother, they never look at both sides of the scale. So yes, there are horrible things that happen with firearms. Okay, that tilts that scale down. When you look at the number of defensive uses of firearms, that scale tips in the other direction in a very radical way. But they never look at that defensive use side of that scale. They're always looking at the victims of so-called gun violence, and they damn sure aren't going to go, well, these people got shot in this gun-free zone because they were good people and they left their guns off of them when they went into this zone, and then they just basically became paper targets for whoever was shooting. It's MC, what's up, brother man? But the more you look into the ideology of the left, the more you look into their arguments, the more you see that their arguments are complete horseshit. And it is. It's absolutely all about control, not about saving lives, not about the children. It's about control.
Narrow group of weapons here. And so our view is that it's not unnecessarily or unduly narrow. And I would also note that even though the Second Amendment test is different in some ways than First Amendment or Fourth Amendment or Fifth Amendment, it's certainly not unheard of for the
That's another good one, Walter.
question in some of those tests to be more significant, especially in any given particular case. That would involve either
what's up, Z?
robust legal or factual analysis. For example, I know right now, there is a big debate over cell phone encryption.
Mike White, what's happening, brother?
Is that a statement? That's the threshold question, and that could be the one that the court is looking at more robustly in any specific type of case. If you're looking at dog sniffing cases under the Fourth Amendment, whether or not something is a search is a threshold question. And so while it might not be as robust of an inquiry or a slightly different inquiry, we don't think it's different in kind, such that there cannot be some teeth to the plain text step.
Can I ask, when you talk about arms in common use for
All
self-defense,
right, this is Judge
see
Wood.
this as an objective test? Do you see it as a
So,
subjective test when somebody buys their AR-15?
See, Holick asked, where do you think is a good website to buy a Polymer 80 frame? I've been scammed. DLD Hardware.
Yeah, well, no, DLD will sell you, and I mentioned the other day because I'm a dumbass, but DLD will sell you the jigs to complete the frame. The last website because I ordered a 19 size frame 2 days ago, and it wasn't 80% arms, it was 80%.
Builders?
Fuck yeah, it might have been 80% builders or something like that. But hey, look, if you order a frame from somebody, and this is the legitimate use for this, if you order a frame from somebody and you don't get it, you can dispute that charge and get your money back. All you have to do is talk to your bank and it was like, look, dude, I got scammed on something, and this was the charge, this was the date, this was the place. You can get your money back. And the sad thing is a lot of people will abuse that shit. And DLD's talked about it where he has sent people jigs or tools or something like that. They actually receive them and then dispute the charge, and then they get their money back, and then they still have the shit in their hands, which is a bitch move. Period. If you do shit like that, you're a piece of shit. You are literally a thief. But yeah, you can dispute charges, but 80% builders, and I'll let this play for a second, and then I'll let you know exactly who I ordered that other one through, because I've ordered
MC
A
brings
couple
up
other things through them. Yeah.
MC brings up Tennessee Arms, which is a company that Eagle Run 23 has been reviewing and talking about lately.
Yep.
But
I
don't know if
I gotta look at them.
I don't know if they only do ARs or if they have pistols also. But I know 80% Builders has all of it.
Yep. And I'll look it up while this is playing. And the goddamn bacon. What is up, my brother? The bacon. And for you guys who don't follow Bacon, you need to be following Bacon. Bacon's a dude who's plugged into so many different outlets. It's not even funny. And there's a huge mesh there of connections. I'll say that. So
They say,
Bacon's another good dude from the PNW.
For self-defense, is that enough
Bacon's
to
a
make
damn
it
good dude, man.
self-defense, or do we need to look at statistics, or what? How do we make sense of this?
I don't think it's a person by person.
Moose out there.
But I do think what people generally use for self-defense is relevant, and we have several expert declarations. I believe it's the Andrew Declaration, Bussey, and Yergolitis that say that Americans typically choose other weapons for self-defense. They typically choose handguns and shotguns, and that's because they are more suitable for self-defense purposes.
Let me get back to this.
You can conceal them, you can maneuver them more quickly, and they are not overpowered.
All right, let me stop her for just a second. She's fixing to get in one of the dumbest fucking arguments I've ever heard about braced pistols and shit being overpowered and stuff like that. But dude, asking about who you should order from, 80% Lowers is the last company that I ordered from. And I've ordered a couple other things from them before, and they've been spot on. And I got a 19 size frame. I got a lower parts kit because I've already got the slide and everything else for the build. But it's 80% Lowers. And they're not necessarily the cheapest or anything, but they've been dependable as far as other things that I've ordered from them, and I haven't had any issues. JSD Supply is good. Yes, McCurve. Yeah. But JSD Supply didn't have just that, because all I need is the frame and the lower parts kit. That's all I need. Even when it comes down to the jig, I've got a jig that I can use. So I'm not worried about the jig or anything else. I don't want a breech frame. There were plenty of companies I could have got a breech frame from. I want a normal 80% 19 size fucking frame and the lower parts kit. That's all I need. So that's why I went ahead and went with them. But JSD Supply is rocking. 1776 supply code. Fucking another one that's kicking ass. And of course, if you follow Dark, you've heard these companies before.
Powered in the way that assault weapon.
So it looks like 80% Builders have taken all the 80% frames off their website. They only have slides, barrels, and uppers. So there's that. I think Coop locked up.
Also, is Coop frozen? G23, you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you.
All right, just want to confirm. Great, Coop.
And it's now the G23 takeover. I claim that I've taken over the stream.
You think get the video footage on this Supreme Court thing going, or just him?
I don't have the authorization to.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just wait for him.
Yep. If he gave me a co-host or something like that, then I'd be able to share screen and stuff like that. But I don't have co-hosts, so That's right, MC. 40 for life. We've taken over the stream. What's going on, Taco? Yep.
No, but guys in the side chat, I want you guys to know what we're doing. We're trying to fund our lawsuits here against the Illinois assault weapons ban that's been going on for a while. This case is major. Listen, the Second Amendment community's got to stop thinking this mindset, moving state to state solves their problems. It's not. You got Washington State, you got Oregon, you got Tennessee, you got Kentucky, you got Massachusetts, you got Minnesota. I mean, there's multiple states, red or blue, it doesn't matter. They're all turning to anti-gun legislation, and they're fighting against Bruin. So Illinois' case, precisely, if we wait for Judge Benitez, it might be too sooner or late. If we actually win this, if this fails through the Seventh Circuit and heads to the Supreme Court desks, we're going to win. It's going to affect all Illinois assault weapons bans, including the 50 states unions issues with their assault weapons bans. So any state like California, New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey, you name it, Delaware, it's all going to be ruled unconstitutional. This is major, and if you want, you can donate to these links here. I'm going to drop in the side chat for you guys. And there's also a guy you should follow by the name of Freedom Steel on YouTube, Todd Vandermine. He actually is helping us fight this on the federal level, as well as Tom DeVore, who's also our state attorney for this ban that we're fighting. So here's the links. I'll be donating to the side chat here.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely got to, and we're doing great at funding a lot of these different lawsuits and stuff. So
I mean,
we just gotta keep doing it, because just because you're in a red state now doesn't mean that you're going to be in a red state in 5 years. So shit happens, and right now with the way everything's going, you never know what could happen.
Yep. So, I mean, this is a major case, guys. If you donate and help out the people of Illinois, you'll be helping yourselves. You'll be regaining back your rights and your freedoms back in the states you lost like 10 years ago. I mean, we could wait for Judge Benitez, but you could also have the option to help out Illinois.
And so, even if you wait for Judge Benitez, that's not going to do anybody except the people on the 9th any good. So, and it's not even really going to do everyone on the 9th any good either, because he's only a district judge. He's not. So he'll make his ruling, and then California is going to appeal it to take it up to the 9th district court. So just because he makes his ruling, he's still in a lower court, which that will only affect California. Mm-hmm. So just because a lot of people are like, oh, well, St. Benitez, yeah, he's doing great, and he's been making a lot of great rulings and everything like that. But until it makes it to the 9th, and then out of the 9th and up to the Supreme Court, it has no effect. Now, once it makes it through the 9th, it will affect everybody on the 9th. So that would be Hawaii, Alaska, Washington, Oregon, California, Utah.
Oregon, no, Massachusetts,
no,
Minnesota.
Massachusetts and Minnesota are not under the 9th.
No, but I'm saying that they're falling under this. I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I'm seeing this trend, G23. It's getting kind of scary now.
So
there's also a guy I follow on YouTube. What's his name? Washington Gun Law. If any of you guys are not subscribed to Washington Gun Law and update on your state's laws and your legislation, you might want to check him out too. I'll actually put a link to his chat here too.
Yeah, he's a good guy. actually, before I got into YouTube and everything, I actually tried to hire his firm to restore my rights. This was a long time ago, and never got phone calls back. So I don't know, but I do watch his stuff and stuff. He does do a lot of good stuff, but yeah, you know. Yep. Coop was like, "Oh, I gotta run. I gotta sell all my 19 parts and go get me some G23 parts. You know, I gotta get that 40 love back."
Yep. No, but
What's going
yeah,
on,
guys,
Jason Ewing? Glad to see you out there. So,
yeah, I'll repeat again. But guys, like I said, we gotta support we the people of Illinois here, guys. If we strike down the Illinois assault weapons ban in the Supreme Court, this is going to have a major impact on all of you guys, including the rest of us in the 50 states of our union. It will overturn so many assault weapons bans and many other anti-gun legislations out there, dude.
well, even if you win, I mean, I really don't want to like crap on what you're saying, but
Yeah.
even if you win right now, so it'll still. This is a three-judge panel. This is a three-judge panel. So even if the winning is done in the three-judge panel, the state's going to file an appeal to go full en banc. So they're going to go to the full seventh court, and then if they lose that, then they'll file an appeal again, hoping that the Supreme Court will pick it up. Now, here's the thing that's messed up: is if the Supreme Court doesn't take the case, then and they just say nope, you know, you got to deal with what happened in the seventh court. We're not going to listen to the case. Then that's only going to affect the seventh. Yes, other like the ninth or the fifth could then say, hey, look what happened over here in the seventh, but it will not be a nationwide effect. It will only affect that district that the courts are covering.
Yeah, correct. But it will impact eventually on other states, though.
Yes, it will potentially help.
I mean, we're talking Bruin decision. I mean, it's been like pandemonium's open door box right now.
It kind of has been kind of a Pandora box being open, but kind of we don't want to count our chickens before they.
Yeah, Coop's internet is cracked. That's why.
Yeah, I know his internet crashed. I just figured I was gonna be a smart ass and be like, hey, hopefully he can grab his cell phone and jump on. If nothing else, because he's the only one that can end this, and I know Dark is going live in about 30 minutes or so. So
Dark just went live.
Did he go live, or is he? Because I think I just got a notification.
Taco just got live. Just told us right now.
Yep, I think he is live right now. But we're still here. We're keeping it going. I don't know how many people are out there listening to us or what. Let me see if I can jump back over. I closed my. I had closed up my phone. Yep. So we got 9 out here. Okay, so Walter says, can a stay be given while a countersuit for a jury trial makes its way? In these kind of cases, it will never be a jury trial. It's going to always be in front of the judges. So jury trials are civil and criminal. So, and you don't always get a jury trial in a civil suit. But in these kind of cases that are going to be going in front of the Supreme Court or potentially going in front of the Supreme Court, it's always going to be full judges, and there is a potential that there could be injunctions granted. Injunctions are super hard to get because you have to be able to prove that more likely than not you are going to win the case. So that's why they're really hard to get.
Coop just said he's trying to fix his internet. He's
yeah. If nothing else, he can always maybe jump on.
Just use his data.
On his phone, jump on and kill this live stream so it can go. Since Dark is live. If nothing else, we'll just keep it going until he can get back in here.
Yeah. No, but G23 in Oregon, is there anything similar to what Illinois has as far as abandoned parks or anything?
No. Now in Washington, yes, but there's nothing for parts right now.
Okay.
So, and again here in September, ballot measure 114 will go to full trial in Harney County. The federal judge has not released her ruling based on the off lawsuit in federal court in Portland. So that ruling is already hanging because that trial has already happened. So we'll find out what's going to happen there. But that judge is, to call her left-leaning would be nice. She's like a socialistic judge. So that's where we're sitting in front of her. Our judge over in Harney County is a constitutionalist. He's not conservative. He's not Democrat. He is, what does the Constitution say? And that's the way I'm going to make my rulings. What does the Constitution say?
Sorry for that back feeding. Coop says if Dark's live right now, which he is, he says it's to go there. You want to do that, D23?
we should probably. Is there a link to Dark's live stream right now out in the
I
crowd?
just get it here. Yeah, then we'll just have to see if Dark wants to talk about it or whatever.
Well, Dark's going to be doing his own. So
yeah, there's the stream.
Yeah, if you want to throw the link out,
There.
yeah, everyone, you can, if you want to watch DLD, go ahead, click on that link, going over to his live stream, and I think myself and Warsaw are going to jump out of this, and hopefully it will kill itself on its own, and we will see you guys over in Dark's live stream.
Yep, we'll meet you over there.
Yep. You want to say anything before we get out of here?
Guys, if you want anything from my advice, support and help your local states, including the states next to you, because you need all the help you can get, especially your friends that are also across other states. We're no longer a state-by-state issue anymore. We're all in this together as Americans. That's why I see each other. We're all Americans, no longer by our states.
Well, thank you, Warsaw, for jumping in. Thanks, everyone, for coming and hanging out with us.
Oh. Coop's getting on.
Well, Coop's possibly trying to get on. I do believe, if nothing else, what he's going to do is just kill the stream. I want to say, everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. And remember...
Hold on. G23, hold on. He said something.
Yeah, he's lagging hard. Are you there, Coop?
Coop, if you can hear us, just jump back out and hop back in if you can.
Or just kill the stream.
Either way. I mean, we might have to redo this whole entire stream again. Yeah, he's frozen bad.
Yep. Remember, everyone, stay dangerous and keep that thing on you at all times. So, peace. See you guys over in DLD. I'm going to jump out. Coop, you can kill it.